Alexis, I don't know if you heard on the news, but Lytton, BC on Monday, and then again on Tuesday, and then again on Wednesday, broke all of the heat records for Canada. And they also registered a higher temperature than the hottest ever recorded temperature in Las Vegas.
Are you kidding me? What was the temperature?
What was it, Ryan?
49.6.
Yeah. That is unreal.
Isn't that sick?
Unreal. My gosh.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Beginning work constructing the Thunderdome.
Wow. It makes you miss winter.
I like that. We're going to have to title this the hot episode.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
For more than one reason.
That'll increase our ratings.
Or the moist episode. Sorry.
So warm and moist.
I have to edit
this is what happens when you've had me as a guest this many times. We just get weird right away. So it's your own fault. I blame you.
This is the AT Banter Podcast, a balanced and entertaining look at assistive technology, accessibility, and its importance in people's lives. Join Rob Minot, Ryan Fleury, and Steve Barclay as they banter with people around the world about anything and everything regarding assistive technology and the disability community. Now, on with the show.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of AT Banter.
Banter.
Hey, incidentally, I really like that. Actually, that was really good. My name is Rob Minot, and hey, look at this. Joining me today from the Guitar Dungeon, where it's nice and cool, Mr. Ryan Fleury.
It's not so cool anymore. I think the ground has absorbed the heat, and it has come through the walls. So it's cooler than the main. Well, yeah, it has leveled out. Let's just say that.
Well, it's probably just normal now.
Yeah, probably.
Hey, and Mr. Steve Barclay.
Yeah, what do you want?
Well, although from what I understand, you've got some air conditioning units over there, so it's probably nice and cool over there.
Oh, it's so frosty here right now. I'm sitting 2 feet away from an air conditioner. It's just blowing cold air past. It's just so nice.
Yeah, so for anybody outside of our area that doesn't know what the heck we're talking about or complaining about, we are currently, we just finished a 3-day heat wave here that at its height, I think it got up to about 42 here in Vancouver.
Just up the road in the Fraser Valley, they broke the all-time Canadian heat record 3 days in a row, and eventually reaching 49.6 Celsius.
Yeah, and so for our U.S. followers or friends, what is that in Fahrenheit?
That's a good question. Let's Steve will look
that is 121 degrees.
What?
That's crazy.
What?
It's nuts. Yeah, 121 degrees. It's nuts.
121 degrees?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Welcome to Hades.
I don't know. Did I tell you guys about looking up the last 5 years heat records for Vancouver?
No.
30 and 29.
Yeah.
For the last 5 years consistently.
What?
Yeah. They're up to 30 and 29 over different years, but never above that.
No.
Yeah, Monday night, like it was crazy. Like in the middle of the night, the coldest it got was, I think it went down to like 24 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, it was nuts. Like I've never been in heat like that.
Yeah, me either.
Luckily we're a little bit cooler today. Apparently this heat dome thing has moved on to Alberta, so you're welcome, Alberta.
Yeah, now I got to check on my family and make sure they get through it.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah, so, as if we need more to complain about. It's just been, oh man, 2021 was supposed to be a better year.
It is getting better. As of July 1st here, we are in stage 3 of our reopening. So a lot of changes are happening. Things are
It's true.
loosening up, opening. You can go to concerts again. Theaters are opening up, plays. We have a lot more freedom and flexibility starting tomorrow. So
That's
yeah,
true.
we're getting there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. So the pandemic's over. Now we just have to worry about climate change and
Yeah, well, who
One more
wants to
time.
live forever?
the weather catastrophes. Or what do they call it? What are they calling them? Climate catastrophe? Oh, yay. Tell ya. I tell ya.
It's an event.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, it was an event around here. Wanted to die. Monday night was the worst. I think I got about 2 hours of sleep. Couldn't, you can't get comfortable anywhere. Everything, like I went on my computer and I touched my mouse and it felt like my mouse had been in the sun. And it was like at 11 o'clock at night and it's just like everything is just hot to the touch. It's nuts.
Yeah, we'd walk into our ceramic floor in our bathroom. You'd think you'd had heated floors. Well, nope.
Yeah, it's just nuts. And then, of course, what that's going to do down the road for us is that I'm sure that it dried out everything.
Oh, there's forest fires already happening now.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
yeah. We're going to have a terrible year for forest fires again.
It's already started.
Good night, everybody. Let's just go home. Oh, yeah, I hope not. I really hope not. I hope because that was bad last year too. We got all that smoke for weeks and weeks. We got from the Washington State wildfires. So, but do we know, was it hotter in Washington State than it was here?
Nope. Well, I shouldn't say nope. I heard the other day, I think Monday in Portland, Oregon, they said it reached 107.
Oh, noobs. 1.4.
That was Monday or Tuesday. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, time to start work on the underwater base.
Indeed.
All right. Well, enough complaining about the weather. Hey, you guys want to complain about Accessibility? That'll be fun.
Oh, they just fallen into it, haven't they?
They have. Okay, but wait, hold on. Before we talk about that, though, I got to check in with Ryan to see what we're doing today. Hey, Ryan.
Yes, sir.
What are we doing today?
Today we are speaking with longtime friend of the show, Alexis Hilliard from Stump Kitchen.
Yay!
Very cool. Very cool. I'm excited to talk to her and see what's new over there at Stump Kitchen.
Yeah, she's still moving and shaking. Things are going up and up and up.
Okay. Well, that will be a little later. Right now, though, I saw this article in Forbes, believe it or not, Ryan.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, Forbes. So this is a article about Accessibility, the accessibility overlay that everybody loves to hate. And apparently it's getting a lot of coverage because the National Federation of the Blind down in the US has launched a pretty substantial attack on Accessibility and has accused the company of engaging in what they're calling harmful practices.
Well, I think even before that, though, I saw on Twitter, I think last Friday, that Accessibility was actually denied a table at the National Federation of the Blind conference coming up here next week. So I think that's probably where the shit show may have started.
Yep, I think, yes, you're absolutely right. But even earlier in the year, though, they had that open letter that about 400 people all around the visually impaired community that were urging web owners to not use Accessibility.
Right.
And there's a hashtag AccessiBeGone that is trending on social media. They're really getting the crap kicked out of them, and deservedly so. I really get the sense that this is the beginning of the end for these guys.
Well, you got to keep in mind, this is a company that is not based in the US. They're based in Israel, and they have a fair bit of money behind them.
Yeah.
They raised, I think, $14 million not too long ago in a fundraising effort. So, they're not likely to go away quickly, is what I'm saying, I guess.
Well, I don't know. These companies they can burn through. You'd be surprised at how much money they can burn through in a relatively short period of time. And if it really does start to get around that this is not a way for websites to avoid any sort of litigation. And in fact, what people are doing apparently are actually targeting companies that are using AccessiBe for litigation in order to like sort of wake them up to the reality that AccessiBe absolutely does not protect them from any sort of ADA compliance.
And we had Sam Evans and Nick Steenhout on our podcast a little while back too, talking about this too. And I think they said if you dig through the fine print, AccessiBe comes right out and says that as well. We will not protect you. We do not make you compliant with ADA guidelines and W3C and everything else down there.
Yeah, which is so weird, right? Like that's in the fine print, yet in their marketing materials, they say completely the opposite. It's so weird how companies are able to skirt this. But I mean, some people are saying that, they think that that the writing's on the wall for these guys because eventually the word's just going to get out that it's just bad news to.
But keep in mind, when we had Sam and Nick on the show, AccessiBe is just the big one that's been in the spotlight. There was, I think, at least 24 others that are out there doing the same thing. So just maybe because of AccessiBe goes bye-bye doesn't mean this is said and done.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know about, and we don't really know anything about those other companies or even what they do, but I really do feel like maybe there's a place for web overlays, just not as a complete accessible solution. It can't fix everything. I mean, certainly you could use a web overlay and say, use that to do things like provide a user to be able to switch up contrasting colors or something. Like it could be maybe a low vision solution that you could offer or a learning disability solution that you could offer. It's just, it doesn't do the trick when it comes to all the other different types of
HTML markup that we require for efficient navigation on the web as screen reader users.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so, maybe, having a web overlay that the user could turn on or off really easily. And if they're, somebody's low vision, they could change the background to yellow and black or white on black or something like that. That could have its place, right? The problem with AccessiBe is that they are marketing themselves as an all-encompassing solution that actually makes a website less accessible, especially for screen readers. And they're also really misrepresenting what it means to actually make your website accessible, like saying things like, oh, it's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars to make your website accessible. So, sign up with us and it'll be a couple $100 a month. They use that in the marketing, and that's really damaging because it's not true at all. And, it doesn't take a huge amount of resources to make a website accessible. It just takes the will and a little bit of a budget to do it. So anyways, I'm glad. Like I'm really happy that this article is in Forbes and is really getting this pushback that AccessiBe is getting. It really starts to feel like it's getting some traction, and I think that hopefully we're going to start to see the downfall of these guys sooner, hopefully, than later.
Time will tell.
Indeed.
It's time for a segue.
Segue! Let's scoot on over to Alexis Hilliard.
Alexis, thank you so much for joining our wonderful show again. I am Ryan Fleury. Joining us in the room is Steve Barclay.
That's me.
And Mr. Rob Minot.
So you can hear it in Ryan's voice that he's on vacation this week. Can you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I got the email notification when I sent him a quick email. I was like, oh, hey, nice.
Yeah, it wasn't nice Monday or Tuesday. We were hiding in our basement.
Yeah, no doubt.
Basement to hide in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, indeed. Well, welcome back. Of course, everybody who knows anything about the show, of course, knows that Alexis is a old friend of the show, having been since almost the very beginning.
Yeah, you were my first podcast interview of my Stamp Kitchen career. And so, yeah, and we started off around the same time. So we're both about 5 years old ish, kind of.
Right.
And you've been interviewed by Google. We haven't. So you win.
There's no winning here.
Not for us, certainly.
Yeah, I have. That was an intense
Really?
experience. All right.
Really? So okay. You know what? I'll get back. I'll circle back to that. So
Okay.
why don't we start out just for people in case we do have some new listeners, just in case. Why don't you walk us through a little bit of what you do over there on your YouTube channel named Stump Kitchen?
What do I do? Indeed, yes. I do a little bit of everything, but mostly it's a YouTube show geared towards celebrating body diversity and disability. And for me personally, I was born without my left hand, my left arm below the elbow, and I use my stump is the word that I use to call my arm. I use my stump as a kitchen tool, from lemon juicer to potato masher to spatula, and I make recipes for people. And I love cooking with guests, like kids with limb differences or just family, friends, random people, local celebs, and I just have a good time. So, and I make a lot of mess too. So that's kind of me in a nutshell, I guess. And then of course I also focus now a bit more on what it's like parenting with a limb difference. I just had a baby. Well, it's not just anymore. I had a baby over a year ago now, even though it still feels like it just happened. So I talk about parenting and just lots of different things.
So do you ever because I know with us and being around the same age, I'm just curious to know if this happens to you, but do you ever just kind of look at the channel and look at all those episodes and just go, oh my God, I can't believe I've made all of this content? Yep,
all the time. And I never thought I would get to this point, but I have completely forgotten about certain episodes. I had to kind of go through my repertoire recently, partly for Google and partly for just something else. I was looking for a certain idea, and I was coming across episodes that I was like, what, when on earth, when did I do this? That I just completely forgot. And I always thought I'm going to know exactly what I did and in what order. But it's also just a kind of a fun and beautiful thing to look back at this huge body of work that, hopefully will live online for a long, long time. And, and people are still watching old videos and commenting. I'll get random comments now and again on, really old videos that are like, oh, I just found you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whoa, wow. Okay. I don't know. It's neat. How do you feel about it when you look at your, body of work?
Tired.
Tears are not enough.
I just don't look at it.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. I often do the same thing. I'll dig back in the archives and go, wow, when did we talk to that person? Wow, we talked to them. Wow. That was a pretty good get.
Yeah, you talk to some cool people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it does get surreal after a while, and you do just you are kind of amazed that you're still going and you're still finding so much to talk about and so many people to talk to. Mm-hmm. What I really enjoy about the channel, and that I think that makes it unique, is that it really has evolved with your life. You've talked to a lot of people, and you've incorporated a lot of very personal things that are going on in your life into the channel. What kind of reception do you tend to get with the channel, and has it sort of stayed consistent through the years based on sort of that changing content?
That's a really good question. At the beginning, when I started to do, a bit more than just kind of recipe stuff and incorporate a bit more of my, a bit more personal things, or maybe a vlog or a different kind of style, like interviews or whatever, or touching on a few social issues or whatever. I was nervous that, I don't know, because you build an audience, and then you're like, every YouTuber, I think, gets nervous about kind of adding or changing what they're doing. But I the viewers and the audience has always been so lovely and kind, and I think they maybe appreciate the almost like not behind the scenes, but like just like the personal approach to kind of learning a bit more about me as a creator. I'm not really sure, because people are just along for the ride. They're like, yeah, great, or like, hey, I really appreciate that you talked about this or whatever. And I've always kind of been the type of creator, luckily for me, that I've never, well, I shouldn't say never. I really try hard not to create anything that I think people will like. I create something that I like and that makes me laugh and that is enjoyable and keeps my, piques my interest, keeps my passion going, makes me excited. Because the couple times that I tried to create for what I thought the YouTube algorithm would like, I just lost all of my joy, and it just felt so artificial and gross. And I had to go right back to being like, no, you just got to do you, and like, yeah, just not kind of worry about creating for any other reason. So yeah, people are just like, cool, whatever you want to make, we're gonna watch it, I guess.
Well,
and they're good about it. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, that's probably why we get along so well with you, is because that's really been sort of our mandate from the start too.
Good.
We just sort of create based on what we're feeling, and obviously we're trying to serve the community, and trying to put organizations in the spotlight that we feel need that, and to try to help out where we can. But at the same time, we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants, and
Totally.
we're looking down the barrel of trying to rebrand and sort of reformat the show to more reflect who we are. So, and I know that your channel is a really unique mix too, because you've got it's very much steeped in a lot of humor, and there's the cooking aspect, but there's also the advocacy aspect, and featuring people and their stories, and trying to put out content out there to help other people who may be going through similar things with limb differences. And in the other sense, I'm assuming that you're also trying to sort of normalize limb difference in the general public. So I guess, have you found it hard juggling all those different aspects, or does it kind of just come naturally?
No, I don't think it's hard in the sense of like, I think my brain is the type of brain that loves variety. It loves kind of following the energy and kind of figuring out stuff. Like just, if something comes up, or if something happens, or like, for example, I recently got a canoe arm attachment for, it's not actually an arm, it's like a canoe paddle attachment for me to be able to paddle better on my canoe. And of course I documented the story and made a video about it. And it was a very positive journey with my new prosthetist, compared to, say, a couple of years ago, I saw a different prosthetist to get a violin attachment made. And that was a really negative experience for a lot of different reasons. And so it was easy for me to make those decisions, to document those things and to do it, because they were important. And, even though it's not exactly like, this is a cooking episode or whatever, it was on topic, had to do with my life. And I knew that it may resonate with people watching, and it was important to me. And I think that, I don't know, like I love being able to kind of follow the energy to what I'm doing. Like the other day, a friend of mine who's a YouTuber in the States, he's got one arm just at the shoulder, and he made me this like robot package thing to like build on camera, like super random, totally not Stump Kitchen themed, but it also kind of is, because it was like an amputee sending something to me, and it was for me to build on camera. So I built it with my baby and my dad, and it was just like, yep. And it's not out yet. I'm gonna edit it up and get it ready, but it just felt like, yeah, this fits, sure. So I forget your original question. It's just really fun to do a lot of different things, is my point.
Yeah. And so how much of that is sort of planned and deliberate, and how much of it just sort of happens? And I'm speaking sort of about sort of the advocacy pieces. Like, do you sort of are you really conscious and aware that you want to make a video addressing a certain topic, or does it just kind of come naturally during the course of filming an episode?
Absolutely comes naturally. I think it depends on who I'm talking to, what comes up in the episode. I think when you have a guest and you're working with an unscripted, scenario, you don't know what could come up. Like I remember a long time ago, I made an episode with a friend. We did like vegan pulled pork with like jackfruit. And, she disclosed to me that she had been dealing with an eating disorder. And I was like, hey, yeah, you know what? I did too in high school. And so we talked about that. And that was like, it just was so important to address in the moment. So sometimes it really depends on who I'm talking to and why and what. And sometimes, something in the media will pop up and like maybe they're, I don't know, something, topical that I want to add my voice into.
Maybe you find a tail on a raisin.
I mean, these are really important political things. Yeah, the other day I was eating raisins in my car, and I was like, what is this tail doing on my raisin? But it was obviously the stem of a grape. But the stem stayed on while it turned into a raisin. It was just amazing. It looked like a little mouse. Anyway.
And she sang a song about it, and that was what I was gonna play the clip.
You did?
And I couldn't get the clip. I tried to find it.
I wonder if I could find it. Let me see if I can find it while I'm chatting with you.
It is hysterical.
Yeah. But no, this isn't something that I planned, but it is something that I think it's neat. It's a neat question that you ask, because I think I've been steeped in, the language of social justice, and because my previous jobs were really like centered around social justice, equity, all that kind of stuff. So I think I already have that in my lens. And so it's easy and necessary for me to go there when when it comes up, or maybe it's just steeped in the ethos of STEM Kitchen anyway. Yeah, I don't know. It's great though to be able to go there and have people be responsive to it.
Well, and it's also very interesting too, because especially over the past 5 years, I think that space has really changed. Discussions about equity and inclusion and accessibility are just happening much more, and I think are more important than ever these days. So I feel like there is a lot of content, especially on YouTube, that is advocacy based, and I think that it is really important. But let me ask you this then: do you find that being able to pair those advocacy pieces and mix them in with videos that are very humorous, like, do you find that you're able to sort of use that humor to, I don't know what the word is, disarm the listener? No,
I knew you were going to say that.
Sorry.
No, I'm glad. I say that all the time. And absolutely yes. I think whether or not I'm using humor to, quote unquote, disarm someone, to talk more about my experience as someone living with a visible disability, with a limb difference, or, to kind of let have their guard be lowered a little bit. I find that when people are, they're laughing a little, or they're made to feel comfortable in that humorous way, you can have a more comfortable conversation, and they're more receptive to learning the deeper message. So definitely yes. And then sometimes I don't have any humor in the videos. Like sometimes they'll be just straight up super serious, or maybe I'm talking about mental health or something, like that. And I think that's also really cool because, like I said before, at first I was kind of nervous about integrating that kind of content onto my channel. But then I was like, but why would I show the world only one side of me? Like, don't I want to be like the type of people that I watch and listen to are the people that I sense that they are authentic, and they're showing me the full range of who they are, as they choose. And so I wanted to be kind of honest and to just be like, hey, this is me. Because I don't know, I get a lot of comments from people that are like, how are you so happy? Like, how do you love yourself so much? And I'm like, I'm not always so happy, and I don't always love myself so much. So I wanted to give a balanced outlook for people to kind of be like, okay, like it's, she's got a lot going on too, and that's normal, and that's great, Also, I found the raisin video.
Oh, let her share the sound. Let her share the
But
sound.
how do I? Okay, I have to change. Okay, let me.
It's a good day when your raisin has a tail. It's a good day.
We need more.
Yeah.
It's a good-
Now I'm gonna put my.
Ryan makes music. He could probably turn that into a rap tune for you.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? That'd be great.
Hey, Rob, you think we can make that into it? Think we can make that into an audio described music video?
Yeah, I think we could. I absolutely think we could.
Singing. I don't know if it helps my memory or what, but you might know this, and maybe we talked about it before. I don't remember, but I'm a really big choir nerd. Like, I sing music. I have since I was like 5 years old. I play ukulele. I teach ukulele. Big choir nerd. Love that stuff. And so singing is like second nature. Constantly singing around the house. And I often, sing while I'm cooking, and you'll see this in many episodes. And sometimes I feel like I do it because it like helps me remember things, or just like, I don't know, it feels like it makes things easier or something. I'm not sure. Maybe that's just how my brain works. But do you ever like sing while you're doing stuff? Or it's just me?
No, I think I do from time to time as well. I'm really bad with hearing something and I can't get it out of my mind for days on end. So there's always something in my head going on.
I often wake up with random songs in my head, and they will stick with me all day. This morning it was every little thing is going to be all right. I have been walking around humming and singing that all day, to the point where I had to go to the grocery store and get jerk chicken spice to do jerk chicken tonight.
That's funny.
Well, that's a great song to have in your head.
The one stupid song that's been in my mind for probably the last 2 weeks is I saw the sign and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign. It's like,
That is the best. And my favorite thing is when people message me out of the blue and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't get the Stump Kitchen theme song out of my head. And I'm just like, yes, I'm in there. I didn't even mean for that to happen. It just kind of happened.
I own your brain now.
I'm in it.
Hey guys, that's what we need. That's what we need, an earworm theme song.
Yes.
For the new show. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be so fun. We could collab on something. That'd be great.
Oh, okay, well, listen. I like this idea.
Mm-hmm.
So is this the whole YouTube thing? Is this a full-time gig for you then?
Yeah, it still is. Well, I wouldn't say, okay, so it is full-time. However, I'm still doing one or two, I teach a ukulele choir on Saturdays, just throughout the school year. That's like a really small part-time gig. And then I also teach, one afternoon a week, teach cooking at a local junior high. So those are things like the music side is like my own personal stuff. And then the teaching cooking is related to Stump Kitchen in the sense that it's cooking, but it's not really related to my YouTube stuff. But everything else I do is all like content creation for YouTube or Instagram, or maybe I'm working on a CBC project or like a sponsorship or something to do with the channel itself, or I'm doing like Lucky Finn project work because I'm an ambassador for that program down in the States. So it really, it's most of what I do, which is really, really great. I feel very lucky to be able to do what I do.
Now, do you have sort of like a shooting schedule? Do you tend to film on the same days and edit on the same days, or is it?
I wish.
She has a 1-year-old. There's no schedule.
Yeah. But I mean, I should be honest that there wasn't really a schedule before I had my baby either, but it definitely makes it a lot harder. Sometimes I film, like lately, like my mom will take Jovan on Fridays. And so, for a couple of weeks I was filming 1 or 2 episodes just on Friday mornings to kind of get them done. I kind of go in batches now. And I also had a bunch of old footage that I didn't get a chance to get to, from when before Joven was born, that I was able to, get working on and have that be put out. So I wasn't having to film all the time. But even before that, I'm not the type of person that was ever able to kind of plan, schedule, or, just really, I don't know. I had to kind of like wake up and be like, okay, now's the day. We're going to do it today. Or maybe plan 1 or 2 days out, which I know does not work for everybody, but for me, it just works somehow with my creative process, I guess. And then of course, as things come up, I'm like, okay, we're going to film this. Like when the first time we took our canoe out on the water, I took my little handheld camera and, tested out the canoe, and that's you just kind of do it as you on the fly, as they say. On the fly. Yeah.
So then, as a content creator, like, do you always have your camera on you? Like, are the people in your life kind of like, you know what, could you just lose the camera for like 5 minutes, please? Like
they used to, yes. And I had to learn boundaries. Like there was, especially in the first couple years, my partner and I had to talk about, like, we literally had time where she was like, okay, this is a no phone meal. Like, you're not going to take a picture of your food. You're not going to make a boomerang about whatever. And I'd be like, okay. But, I was just starting out and I was like, this is so exciting. And now I'm just like, thank God I can't find my phone today. Like it's almost like a relief that I get to make those boundaries. I've kind of grown into that. But then when I'm on my work time or a work chunk of hours or whatever, then I'm really just like boom, 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 getting it all done so that I can really enjoy being with my baby. And, but yeah, it took a while to kind of learn those boundaries for myself because, as I'm sure you all know, like you could do this all the time. You could be on your phone, on the computer, on the whatever, constantly creating and making and sharing. And so, yeah, I think I finally have some healthy boundaries about that stuff.
Now, do you find that now that you're sort of, very well established in the YouTube world, and you're, it's a little bit of a paying gig for you, do you find that puts some pressure on you as a content creator? Has that taken some of that magic of those days where you were just creating content for the heck of it?
Absolutely it does. Not all the time, but definitely times when, if I'm stressed and I can't get a video out on time, and because I strive to do one, once a week, then I really get down on myself because, I'm on Patreon, and that's how I, make a good chunk of my income. And I feel like, oh God, like I'm letting people down or whatever. But it's all these pressures that you put on yourself. Like everybody around me, like I have another good friend who's a YouTuber, Footless Joe. She's been in the hospital recently and recovering and doing well, but she was like so stressed about not putting out content. And for me, looking at her, I was like, oh my gosh, like, we love you. It's okay. Take a few weeks off. Like, so I've been trying to let myself, like, be kind to myself with those messages as well. And I'm a lot better at missed a week or two or whatever. It was really, really bad. But now it's been, as I age like a fine wine, I'm kinder to myself, you see. And I know that my viewers and my listeners and my whoever, like, they're just kind, they're family. And, I want to model healthy behavior as well to the people that are watching. So, learning how to be a bit more gentle on myself.
And now, do you find that you fall into that trap where you're like constantly checking your analytics and you're just like, it's all about subscribers, or do you just kind of put that to the side and just be like, look, I'm just going to create content for the sake of creating content?
Yeah, I go through waves, and again, this is another thing that I really had to learn. It's like this is a learned skill, a learned skill for any content creator that you can learn. But it goes in cycles. So sometimes it'll creep up and I will start to think about numbers, views, subscribers, likes, all those things. And I'll think these are important. and then I'll start looking at them for a few days, and immediately I start feeling really gross. I start comparing myself to others. I start wondering, why is this not doing that well? Why did I only get a few hundred views on this video? Why? And then I come back to myself and I'm like, hang on a second. This is not why you're doing this. And you made this pledge to yourself from the beginning. You're doing this because it's fun and important and celebratory work that you get to share with whoever wants to be a part of it. And it doesn't matter the numbers, all that blah, blah, blah stuff. And then I get back in a good way for a while. And then every few months I'll creep back into like, oh, how many blah, blah, blahs do I have now? But then I even more quickly, I'm able to start reminding myself, hey, this actually doesn't matter to you because, had I not looked, it wouldn't have affected anything anyway. Like I'm still able to create content. I'm still engaging with people. I'm still having an impact. I'm still getting great messages from people about the impact of my work. And those, I think, speak so much more loudly than any kind of analytics could, tell me, even though we're trained to be like, these are so important. It's a really hard self-taught lesson that is like really gross for anyone to kind of learn as a content creator.
So talk to me a little bit about just the process that the YouTube journey that you've sort of gone on over the past 5 years. Because I don't recall when we first talked to you what your subscriber base was and how fully sort of steeped in YouTube you were, but I get the sense that now, like, is there training? Like, have you gone to like YouTube headquarters, wherever it is, and whatever underwater base that they're based out of?
Actually, it's on the moon. I don't know if you know that. It's on the moon. I had to fly there.
Told you, Rob. He didn't believe me.
No, I've never been there, and I'm still, and I probably always will be, I'm a very small YouTuber. I just hit 5,000 subscribers, and so over 5 years, 5,000 subscribers, that is extremely modest, but it's the most powerful and fun and loving subscriber base. And then of course there's tons of viewers that aren't subscribed, that just kind of watch and enjoy. But yeah, like it's just been a nice kind of tiny, sustainable growth where I'm able to interact with people, reply to comments, have conversations. I'm able to FaceTime with kids. And I talked to this person in South America just last week who was trying to get a driver's license, and they wouldn't let her because she was missing a hand, and it was awful for her. And then she actually kind of fought it, and she was able to take the test, and she was feeling a lot better. But we were able to kind of support each other. I was able to kind of support her and just be like, hey, I'm here for you. And I think if I was ever bigger than I am now, I wouldn't be able to have that one-on-one experience with people. So yeah, in a way, I'm quite established, have a good rhythm, blah, 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 but I'm still really tiny, even though I've had kind of people kind of know who I am in certain circles, which is nice, but I'm also still really like, what's Thumb Kitchen? I don't know, small but mighty, I guess.
Have you gained any local celebrity in the Edmonton area? Like, do you walk down the street and people go,
yes,
are you a Stump Kitchen?
Yeah, I do. And I get
Really?
I mean, not much lately because the pandemic, I'm not going out as much, but I've had people roll down I've been walking on the sidewalk and people will roll down their car window and be like, hey, Stump Kitchen, or like at our local folk fest every year, at least 3 or 4 people will stop and say hi or recognize me. And then I also have a lovely following of like boomer and older kind of crowd, because they watch like the early morning news, and I'm often on early morning news shows, and they're just like, oh, I think I saw you on Global on the weekend. And I'm like, hi, yes, Grandma, you did. And so I have this beautiful kind of like, following and get recognized. I'm pretty recognizable. Like it's not every day you meet someone without a hand. So I'm pretty lucky that people are I don't know, I stick out in their brain. So they're like, it helps with that local celeb stuff, I guess. So
Yeah, you see, we're just disembodied voices. Nobody recognizes us.
yeah, but they're such nice voices. I've always just like, you should honestly do some ASMR or something, because your voices are just such good radio voices. They're just so smooth.
Actually, that's
Ooh,
like
smooth.
You know what? Actually,
This is how she keeps coming back, guys. Flattery.
Flattery will get
Oh,
you.
I know how to. I know how. Yeah.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, like maybe we will do an offshoot. Maybe that'll be the new format of the new show. We'll just eat strawberries into the mic and
Oh my God.
sing Barry White songs.
That'd be so good. So good.
And
But-
come up with their own Barry White songs.
Yeah, see, there you go. So tell me a little bit about what about the editing? Are you still doing all your own editing?
I'm not. That's like a really, really new thing. Probably the newest thing other than Google since last we talked. So just a few months ago, and again, because of being a parent and wanting to be the type of parent that I am, which is very like hands-on / limbs-on, to be able to spend time with Joven, I hired an editor. I went on a site and I interviewed some people, chatted with folks, and his name is Max. He's awesome. He lives in the UK, and he's helped me edit a good chunk of my stuff lately. So getting through old footage. I still do a lot of the editing, plus have like the artistic say over anything that Max works on, and we kind of collaborate. But he's been such an incredible help. And I was so scared, because honestly, editing is the thing that I love the most. Like, yeah, filming is fun and everything else, it's great. But the editing portion, as you well know, is the part where the artistry comes in, where you pull out those funny bits, pull out the story, pull out the effects to make people laugh. And so giving that away, I was like, oh God. But it's turned out to be a beautiful relationship, and I still feel very much in control. And it's let me be more of a mom to my baby, as opposed to like trying to find a daycare or whatever. So yeah, that's the one thing that's really changed for me. And I don't think it'll stay. I think once I have a good rhythm with Joven and they're a little bit older, I'll go back to more full-time editing, because I love it so much. But it takes hours, like dozens and dozens of hours a week. So for me anyway, because I'm pretty slow, I'm still a beginner, even though I've been doing this forever. But yeah, it's been cool. It's been really cool.
See, you sound like the most well-adjusted content creator on YouTube, like, to be honest.
You.
And I watch a lot of YouTube because I'm a cord cutter, and honestly, like, there's literally, I can't wait to turn on my TV, because I got a computer hooked up to my TV, and just like go into the YouTube algorithm and see what it's served up for me. And like, I got the weirdest thing over the weekend. I got this. I didn't even know this was a thing. It was some guy in Scotland. He calls himself the Hoof GP, and all he does is go around and like trim cow hooves. And I didn't even think this was a thing. But like, he goes around and like cows that have gone lame because they've gotten bruises or abscesses or ulcers in there. I didn't know what a sole ulcer was. Apparently there's this thing called a sole ulcer and he takes his grinder and he grinds down the horn, which is what they call the hoof, because I guess it's made out of the same. Anyways, I know far too much cow hooves now, because I just went down the rabbit hole of, like, watching like 25 videos of him trimming cow hooves, and I'm just like,
oh man, I love YouTube so much.
there's
So
just
good.
something for everybody on YouTube. There's just it's
really
incredible. So I do watch a lot of it, and I do often think that it's just like I feel like a lot of YouTubers are just giant assholes.
Yeah, some definitely are. If they're doing it for the wrong reasons, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, right. And I feel like those are the people that just like they dive. They're all about the analytics, and they'll just do anything for viewers. And there's just it's terrible. But again, so I do have to say that I do really do appreciate that there is a huge part of that YouTube community that are very well-meaning and well-adjusted, and have this balance. have you built a sort of a large community, sort of almost like a Limb Difference YouTube community? Like, do you do a lot of collaborations with other channels, or have do you know of other YouTubers with limb differences that have sort of cropped up in the years that you've been doing this?
Absolutely. I wouldn't say there's a huge like community slash connection and collabs that I personally have been a part of. However, my friend that I mentioned earlier, Footless Joe, she's an amputee from the States, from Colorado. And I flew down there a couple of years ago. We collabed a whole bunch and we've got a lovely relationship. So there've been some really intense collabs like that, as opposed to like a really widespread community on like of other YouTubers specifically. But then I have reached out and talked to lots of other YouTubers who have a variety of disabilities that we just talked kind of behind the scenes. We've become friends. So that's been really, really great. And my goal at some point is to, it'd be great to film and collab with all of these people. Oh, I connected with Annie Elaney. She's a really big advocate on YouTube and social media. We did a couple video collabs together in Las Vegas. And so these little things have happened, but I think mostly, it's meeting people in person, from my home, like from Edmonton, from my hometown, or doing virtual, episodes through Zoom or FaceTime or whatever with just other people with limb differences who aren't necessarily YouTubers. Some are for sure, but just connecting with people kind of the natural way, I guess. So yeah, I'd say there's like a really supportive community out there, but there's not like a YouTube club for people with limb differences. I mean, maybe I'd be fun if there was. It'd be really, really cool. Because I do know of a few more, but we're not like, one day maybe be cool to have more collabs. But
so now tell me about this Google interview that the boys were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Okay. So super random. I get this voicemail a few months ago from this person who says that she's a casting agent for a big corporation. She called and she was like, "Hey, this is not a prank call. This is not spam. This is actually real. But we have a client that wants to do a documentary on some kitchen, and we want to interview you." And I was like, "What? Okay, all right, sure." And long story short, we had a couple of phone calls, and they were like, "Yeah, it's Google." And I was like, "What do you mean it's Google?" And they're like, "The client's Google." And I was like, "Excuse me, what?" And they're like, "Yeah, I was like, "How did you find me?" And they were like, "Well, we Googled you." I was like, "Of course you did. Of course you did." But yeah, they were looking for, creators to kind of showcase this year, specifically creators with disabilities. And so I think I kind of fit their criteria. Yeah, so they had really strict COVID protocols that came out just for 2 short filming days, but they were here for a week with a big crew outside in the backyard with a trailer. And we had like 12-hour days. And it was so intense. It was such a whirlwind. Like they brought me clothes and like a kitchen island and random new plates for the house. So it was it's almost like it didn't happen. It was just so fast and amazing. But it was really cool.
And now, so has this documentary aired? Like, where did they show this? Or
yeah, so it's just it's just on the Google YouTube page. So Google has their own YouTube page with I think over 10 million subscribers. And they put it there. June, can you hear Joven?
Absolutely, it's great.
Oh, good.
Is this first podcast?
Yeah. Well, actually, it might not be Joven's first podcast. Actually. Yeah. June 4th, they aired it, and so people can find it on Google's YouTube page. I think it has like 100 and I'm not sure, just under 200,000 views or something. And I think it's had some nice little impacts around the world. I'm not really sure, but I've had a small bump in traffic to my channel, which has been nice.
Nice.
Well, wait until this episode airs and get prepared for a large bump.
It'll explode.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Are you blowing bubbles on my breast?
And the show
Quality
went there.
content. Quality content here, folks. You're only going to get this with an AT Banter and Stump Kitchen collab.
Right.
Oh my God.
These are the best ASMR episode ever.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ask Joven to sing us a song.
Here, I'm going to give my baby back to my partner. Are you going to stay here? Hi, babies. Okay. Okay, I'm back.
No worries.
Oh my gosh, that was funny.
Okay, we can talk about Google. Let's
And Rob, keep that in because that'll give us a bump in our ratings.
Right.
right. I'll open the show with that.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Okay, so for those people who might be interested in checking out what you got going on, what you got cooking over there at Stump Kitchen, where the heck can they find you?
Absolutely. I'm just Stump Kitchen on YouTube or youtube.com/Stump Kitchen. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. The Google documentary is just on the Google's YouTube page. And yeah, I usually get back to everyone that sends me a message. So send me a message.
Alexis, it's been once again a delight having you on. Thanks so much for taking some time out of the busy schedule, being a mom, to come chat with us for a bit and catch up.
Absolutely. I always love chatting with you. And congrats again on 5 years. And I can't wait till next time.
Sounds good.
Well, it's possible that I'm going to get out your way in late September, I think.
You guys should
Really?
do a cooking show because Steve loves cooking too.
That would be
I do.
great.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I need to
My
learn
dream to
things
have-
about eggplant.
So do we all.
Lots of Parmesan cheese.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to do that. Do something with all of you. That'd be so great. But yeah, we can do some eggplant grilling. Something fun.
Maybe.
Why are you coming out?
Oh, I'm going to do a post-COVID road trip and see all the people that I haven't seen. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm going to go on a 2-province hugging tour. I think that's what
Oh,
it's
good. Yeah,
really
yeah.
going to be. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Alexis.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
You as well.
You too.
Stay frosty.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I do not envy anybody who that heat dome is heading towards.
Nope.
Indeed.
Oof.
Oof is right.
At least it's dissipated somewhat if they're only getting, 36, did you say?
So far.
Yeah.
But I think it just hit
Yeah.
them overnight. So they might be there for a couple days.
Yeah, but it's because that's the thing. That's what drives the heat up, right? Is it sits over the same area and then it heats the ground and then
Yeah.
you're screwed.
And so on.
But no, that was great. That was great talking to her again.
Yeah, she's still trucking along.
Yeah.
Getting noticed. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do really think a lot of it has to do with such a great mix of content over there. You know, the fact that all the videos are so funny, but plus they've got a really great message. She talks to a ton of different people. It's just it's never not entertaining. I just wish she would cook junk food. Like I just maybe I could
Fried
put in a
Mars bars.
request. Like if she could teach me how to make like homemade poutine or something like this, it's just terrible for me. Then
Well, maybe a vegan poutine wouldn't be so bad. I don't know what they'd use for gravy, but it probably wouldn't be gravy.
None of those alternatives ever really seem to really. Although I hear that Beyond Meat stuff's pretty good.
It is. It's surprising.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
surprising.
but it's still not meat. Like it's not meat.
If
They're
they-
getting close.
The first time I had an A&W Beyond Meat burger, if you had not told me that it was a Beyond Meat burger, I would not have picked up on it.
Oh, is that right?
No.
Well, maybe I'll have to try their Beyond Meat because I've tried other ones and you can tell.
Of course, I also ordered it with bacon, which really,
Kind of masks it.
yeah. That
Nice.
might have made a difference.
Oh boy.
Worth a try.
Hey Ryan,
Rob.
where can people find us?
Well, they can currently find us at atbanter.com.
They can also drop us an email if they like at cowbell@atbanter.com.
And we're out there, you know, in those internet's social webby thingies. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram, and we are also on Twitter. So give us a ping on there.
And soon Steve will be on YouTube on the Stump Kitchen channel.
No, who knows if that ever happens. You never know.
Oh,
It could happen.
it'll happen. Yeah, and just a reminder, we are still looking for suggestions for the name of the new podcast. If anybody out there wants to contribute.
Name
How about-
of the existing podcast. It's not a new podcast.
That's a good point.
Same podcast, different name, maybe.
That's right.
Maybe.
Same dumbasses, same mics, different name.
That's right.
I think that's going to about do it for us this week, guys. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And big thanks, of course, to Alexis for joining us. And we will see everybody next week.
This podcast has been brought to you by Canadian Assistive Technology, providing low vision and blindness solutions across Canada. Find us online at www.canastech.com. That's CANASSTECH.com. Or call us toll free at 1-844-795-8324. For all your assistive technology servicing needs, call Chaos Technical Services at 778-847-6840 or find them online at chaostechnicalservices.com.
Master of the one take.